What's up, Zombie Talk 123 here. Kind of a busy day here, and I'm going to get to a few things. First of all, the Los Angeles Dodgers making headlines in many ways today with new ownership coming at some point. The Matt Kemp extension was huge. I'll get to that later. It was an 8-year, $160 million deal. I think he's getting paid like $15 million or something this year, and then every year past that he's getting paid over $20 million. This is absolutely huge for the Dodgers. Matt Kemp is the most athletic person in the MLB, and he can put up Silver Slugger or even Triple Crown numbers almost every year with his speed, his power, his contact, his defense, everything. He could become one of the best center fielders of all time if he lives out his potential. Remember, he's really young still, and he had an absolute fantastic MVP-like year last year. So that was a great move for the Dodgers, going in the right direction, penciling in and locking in outfielders for their future. And I do not I don't think that Andre Ethier will be a Dodger after 2012. I just don't see his age, his declining in numbers, power-wise. I just don't see him being that threat unless he comes back this year in 2012 and has amazing numbers. I just don't see him being a long-term option for the Dodgers. They need to develop in the organization. They made a trade with the Cardinals getting Nick Castellanos, but I don't know if he's really a top prospect or a lot of power potential. But there's a lot of guys in the organization that they could try out in right field. Otherwise, they're gonna have to go out and make a trade for a young guy, or if they did trade Andre Ethier, they could get a young prospect there. Or they could go in the free agency. But I just don't see them, signing Andre Ethier to a big extension. But who knows? Their GM, Ned Colati, I believe is how you pronounce it, is a very aggressive GM. He's always, it's a big market team. He's always in the loop for free agency, trades, everything. He made those aggressive moves for Manny Ramirez a few years ago. He's just one of those guys that if this is right for the team, the organization, he's going to go out and he's going to make deals to try to make this team better, as every GM does that. But this guy seems very aggressive before this year, signing a lot of guys. And they signed a lot of free agents, including Juan Uribe. And at that point, I thought, this team might have a real good chance in competing this year, and I was drastically wrong. They have a lot of core players, but Juan Uribe had a terrible year last year, a lot of injury, and he's going to be starting the year at third base. Hopefully for the Dodgers, he can have a good year after signing that pretty big contract. Then you have D. Gordon, prospect at shortstop after they shipped for Call to St. Louis. And now they get Mark Ellis. He was with the Rockies, I believe, last year, and I believe he was traded from the Oakland A's to the Rockies. And over 500 plate appearances, he was batting right around 250. He not a great hitter, a contact hitter for sure, not much power. Just one of those kind of middle pack type infielders, but he's really good on defense, and he's got some pretty good range. He's just a solid defender, solid teammate. Solid clubhouse guy. He's a veteran. He's been around the block. He knows what to do and lead some young guys. So you got D. Gordon, and now you have an infield, middle infield D. Gordon, young guy, Mark Ellis, veteran. And really, he's getting paid a 2-year deal with getting paid a little more than $4.5 million, right around in that range. So not breaking the bank, keeping it right around $5 million a year. Or maybe a little less. For an infielder that of his stature, it's kind of a lot, but the way this market is looking for infielders, I'm not surprised that he would get $4 to $5 million, and you can't really go anything under for an infielder like that. He's a very solid defender, and for the Dodgers, they're starting to look better. Penciling in Matt Kemp, there's uncertainty whether he would be able to get traded or not, or they would have to trade him. They could get absolute ton for him if they traded. But now there's a full no trade clause. He said he wants to stay in Los Angeles, and he is going to be there for 8 years. So expecting him to, play most of his career in Los Angeles, obviously, and maybe finish his career after this contract in Los Angeles. So a small deal, whatever happens. But the main thing is they don't have uncertainty in their outfield anymore. Now they have Andre Ethier. He's uncertain at this point, but really Jerry Sands in left. You have, or he could be in right too if Andre Ethier goes, and you could get a lot for Andre Ethier if he's putting up really good numbers in 2012, and the Dodgers are still out of it. I just don't see them being able to afford Andre Ethier, Matt Kemp long term, and still try to be competitive with around their other positions. They offered Ryan Doman a contract, and he denied. He rejected it. It's right around $3 million. Kind of surprised by that, but it would be funny because Rod Barajas and Ryan Doumit would have just switched teams. Ryan Doumit would have gone to the Dodgers, and Barajas, a former Dodger, went to the Pittsburgh Pirates. So I think Ryan Doumit would be a perfect fit for the Dodgers. Good offense there, really solid offense. I think if the Dodgers, what's up, Dad? I think if the Dodgers offered maybe 3.5 to $4 million, maybe they might even have to go a little higher. I mean, he had really solid offensive numbers last year, and I think that the Dodgers should be willing to go to $4.5 million for Doumit for a year, and they'd be really improving their whole team, honestly. You know, you add in Doumit in probably a 6, 7 spot in the lineup, probably a 6 spot, and then you have Mark Ellis. You know, maybe he could bat around the front of the lineup, but he doesn't have a great on-base percentage or bat average, maybe an A-place hitter. You still have Matt Kemp, a great cornerstone bat there. You have Andre Ethier, he's a good 2-3 hitter, depending on, you know, how he's hitting, even a 5 hitter. And, you know, D. Gordon should develop into a pretty good player. He's a top prospects for the Dodgers. So, obviously with Clayton Kershaw and a few others, you know, this team is not that far off. Compared to what their record showed last year. And I think that their general manager realized, yes, there's a problem with the ownership, but how do we get fans in the stands? You sign Matt Kemp to a long-term deal, so he's not just there for another half a year. And, you know, you sign those guys and you fix the ownership problem, and this Dodgers team will be really good, maybe even in 2012, 2013, and for many years after that. As long as this team has Clayton Kershaw and Matt Kemp on it in their prime, this team is primed to be a great team. I mean, what happened last year, put it behind you, prepare for next year, and this team is definitely looking better and better. And Mark Ellis was, I think for a lot of teams, was kind of high on teams' priority list for adding a veteran infield bat they can rely on defensively. They can definitely rely on it and not breaking the bank. So a disappointment probably for a few teams looking for a second baseman that won't break the bank there. But for the Dodgers, I think this is a good sign. Personally, I didn't even have time to predict where Mark Ellis would end up, but I don't think I was thinking anywhere around the realm of the Dodgers. I wasn't really expecting a team like that. But, you know, the Dodgers, sometimes you forget about, you know, teams that didn't win last year that, you know, go out there and get a lot of free agents. But this isn't just one of those big free agent deals for the Dodgers. It's a solid one and will definitely pay off. Other news I just want to quickly say, I think the Marlins will sign Jose Reyes. I'm guessing it's probably a 5 or 6 year deal worth maybe $100 or $100 million, maybe a little more. He'll probably get like 19 to $21 million a year. I pretty much predicted Jose Reyes was going to the Marlins since day one. And then he met with them and he loved Miami, and he just seems like a player that would love to go down to Miami and play. I mean, it's a likable place to play. For Pujols, I'm not exactly sure. I think the way to go for the Marlins is to sign Reyes and Cepedas instead of signing Pujols and Burley, or try to fit in your budget Reyes and Pujols. I think the right way to go would be Reyes and Cepedas, depending on how expensive it gets. And then for sure, you've got to find a way to sign a veteran starter like Mark Burley, though. They've offered contracts that should seriously be taken seriously. Quoted there to Pujols, Reyes, and Burley, and supposedly Ryan Madsen, too. So thank you for watching. The Dodgers have signed Mark Ellis. Thanks for watching. Let me talk 1, 2, 3.